Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to the next Diode LED Reel to Reel. We're actually bringing in, we're ending the year strong. We're going to be talking about the S-Series today. I wanted to keep it a little bit festive for the holidays, so I know I look a little ridiculous, but we're going to get into it. It's going to be the same format as always, strong 15 minutes, bang, 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 and then we're going to end up having a lot of questions at the end. And so thank you for coming again. I'm the Senior National Training Manager at Diode LED, and let's get started here. So a nice and then we're going to get into the golden nuggets like always. So S1 is the actually the original channel profile that we use for the S series, and then today we'll be talking about the other brand new channel profiles that we've entered into the S series. So as of now, we have 3 channel profiles in all. S1, as you have seen in other reel-to-reels, is one of my favorite channel profiles. It's extremely cost-effective and also very low profile. Due to it being low profile, though, it is compatible with both 8mm and 12mm tape light, which is, Blaze and Blaze X, or Valent and Valent X for 12mm. The only thing is you can't fit 12mm wet located tape light in this channel profile. The other thing I really wanted to mention is you can do with Blaze and Blaze X and Streamlight, you can do terminal blocks and soldered leads. It will allow you to fit that in there. But with 12mm tape light, it is extremely hard to actually fit that terminal block in there, so we do not recommend it. With the S1, we only recommend 12mm solder. I consider this one of our standard channels, right? We have obviously recessed channels, angled channels, and even specialty channels. So this would be considered a standard channel and also very low profile. Also, with our S series, to make them very cost effective, we really have one finish option, which is aluminum. And then we have a frosted lens option as well as a no lens option. No lens option might be a good solution maybe for Streamlight, where you still need to have a good amount of lumen output, but you don't need to actually diffuse the dots because Streamlight is obviously a diffused tape light, a dotless tape light. And as you can see there, and we'll show you live here in a second how low profile it is next to each other. So then I'm very excited about this new channel profile. This is the S2, so as you see, right, as you go up in numbers, it gets a little bit larger here. This has a little bit better compatibility across all of our tape lights, right? So it's compatible with both 8mm and 12mm tape light. It is the similar with the S1 that it is not compatible with 12mm wet located tape light. But what's awesome about the S2 and what the S45, which I'm about to show you, is that we optimize these channels to make sure that they could have a 12mm terminal block. This is great for contractors in the field. Now they can cut wherever they need to, cut the tape light, the channel, and then use our terminal blocks inside the channels, which I'll show you in a second why these are unique terminal blocks, right? That you can fit them in the channels. They're not hanging out on the outside of the channels. They're not sagging on the wires. You can actually put these in direct view and it still looks really good. Also, though, something to note about the S2 and the S45 as well as the S1 now is that we optimize these lenses. They're a polycarbonate lens and they actually have no color shift. And this is very important. There is a lot of channel profiles out there that are very cost effective. And when you use 2700 or 3000, you get more of a pink shift with it. And so we took a lot of time on this to design these so that you have very little color shift at all, right? So no pink shift, as well as very little CCT differences. So there was a lot of channels out there. If you put a 2700 tape light in that channel, it might turn out after the opal lens, it might turn out to be more like 2900 or 2950. With these channels, it's under 50 CCT shift, which is very, very minimal and high above the standards in the industry. So also this is probably something I think a lot of people have been waiting for is one of our rounded angled channels that can fit 12mm tape light in it. And it's also optimized to be as small as possible to fit that tape light, right? So this is a really, really cool channel. We can use this in a whole bunch of different applications. I'll show you a few in a second here. But again, compatible with 8mm and 12mm, not 12mm wet located tape light. But you can also, though, have both 8mm and 12mm terminal blocks and soldered leads. Same thing as the other ones, right? Aluminum finish only, frosted lens, or no lens option. And so this is just expanding on the S-Series. We'll be expanding in the future as well. In my opinion, what I think is probably the number one thing I want you to remember with these channel profiles is for the quality, it's the best cost-effective to quality ratio for a channel profile on the market. Right? So what you get for the price and the quality and performance of these channel profiles is fantastic. And so I did want to, before we do a demo and a close-up here, I wanted to talk about how you can get to the spec sheet, right? And how you can see we've really revised our spec sheets in the last year to give you as much data as possible. This is unique in the industry. I'm gonna show you 3 different areas I want you to remember with the spec sheets. So for example, first area, right, is our recommended tape light. We want to take out all the guesswork. We want you to be able to go to our spec sheet and pretty much know exactly what we recommend with all of our tape lights. And so as you see there, right, we obviously don't have any Valent wet located or Valent X wet located, since that is not compatible with the S2. So, and then as we go down here a little bit, another thing I wanted to show you is on all of our spec sheets, right, we give you the data on if it can be compatible with a terminal block or with a soldered lead only. This is a big one as well. This is taking out the guesswork. Lighting designers love it around the country, right? Being able to know if this is going to be a field install. They need to know if that tape light is going to fit with some type of connection. So we take all that guesswork out as well. Also, you can see with the technical ratings, right? We allow you to know what the beam angle is, right? What the light loss is, which is actually, if you know anything in the industry on what the typical light loss is for opal lenses, you can be as much as 40% on light loss. Again, we optimize these lenses to only give you 20% light loss with a 40K difference in CCT shift, which is very, very good in the industry. Anything under 50 is really top tier in this industry. And then as we go down here, the last thing I wanted to mention, and this is something I thought was awesome that we added to our spec sheets, is our diffusion key, right? And so this is how we label them. They might have different other names or different terminology in the industry, but how we label them, right, is runaway diffusion. And you can see the picture there where it is still diffused and won't be as glary, but you still get some major dots on it. And then you have semi-diffused, right? And this is where you still maybe in direct view, right? If you're putting this channel in direct view and it's not under an under cabinet or hidden behind a lip, you still might not want that, right? It's not completely diffused across the lens. And then we even have dotless lighting. This is what I want to focus on and show you really how many tape lights are actually compatible with the S2 that give you dotless lighting, right? As you can see, right, obviously Streamlight, and then you even have our Valent series, and even our Valent wet location and stuff. So it's pretty awesome. I'll show you a close-up here now. A little demo and close-up. So I wanted to start out by showing you individual channels, right? So this is our S1, as you can see with my thumb here, right? Very, very low profile channel. This is one of our most low profile channels that we offer. So I'm going to show it to you here on. This is with our Streamlight, probably one of my favorite combinations with the S1. This is something that's just absolutely beautiful in person. Obviously, video cameras don't give it justice, but you'd have to see this in person. The S1 is completely diffused across the lens. You don't even really get any beams that are hot spots through the middle. It really is this nice diffused across the lens. So see it here, right? This is using our 2700. Right, I'm going to leave this out so you can get a perspective here in a second on, I wanted to show you both of these S2s. And the reason why is that even though we optimized this for 12 millimeter tape light, what I love about the S2 is that it still looks absolutely gorgeous using our 8 millimeter tape light. So I have Blaze in here. So you can see here, right? So very, very nice and diffused. I'm showing it here with the actual clips on it. These clips are easy to use. They just snap on. You can actually move them wherever you want. Obviously, if you're doing something in direct view, you could not use the clips and just do a drill through the back of the channel, or have us do that as well, so that it's then screwed onto the wall. You don't have any clips hanging out. It obviously will look much better in direct view. And then I wanted to show you, though, as well, the Valant inside the S2. So very, very similar. The video camera is not doing, again, justice. If you saw it in person, there is a little bit better diffusion through with the Valant. Not as many hot spots through the middle. But again, with the Blaze, it still looks very, very good for such a cost-effective channel. So I'll put that one next to here as well, so you can see here, right? And I'll turn them off on the sides, right? You have a little bit more area, more a room inside the S2, which is why it has more compatibility with more tape lights for being dotless, because obviously that lens is farther away from the tape light. So I'll leave that here. Then the last one, which I really do think this is going to be a game changer, is our S45. So this is a 14 millimeter channel. So you can see here, it's kind of like a triangle, and then it has a rounded lens. They give you some options where I love to use this channel is maybe an under cabinet where the actual backsplash meets the under cabinet. You can put this in the corner, and now the light will shine forward instead of just straight down. So if they are doing a lot of cooking, right, this rounded lens, which is really great for scattering the light, will give you much better light throughout your surface area. So, and we obviously give it with clips here as well, the same design, right? You can move it wherever you need to move it. So, and then just to give you another perspective, right, I'll pull this one out and just show you the three here, right? So another perspective there with my thumb, right? A little bit larger, but very small still to be able to optimize for 12 millimeter tape light. I also, though, wanted to just make sure everyone remember the difference between 8 millimeter, right? And then 8 millimeter is obviously smaller. This is what 12 millimeter looks like, right? So it's a little bit wider. The reason why is that we need to be able to have enough room for the amperage going down to be able to have the diodes so close together. So with any of our Valant X or Valant or Valant X, you have double the amount of diodes on it. So 72 diodes per foot. But due to that, right, it is only 24 volt with any type of 12 millimeter tape light. So, and then just showing you our wet located as well. So, and then the last thing I wanted to show you on the demo and close up here is actually showing you the terminal blocks with our channels. So this is the S2, right? Obviously, it fits the 8 millimeter terminal block. But as you can see here, right, it also is optimized perfectly to fit that 12 millimeter terminal block in the channel. Yeah, so there we go. Seeing it close up here. And then I'll show you really quick on the this last part here on the S45, right? Fits actually in the channel. They're clear, so the light will go through. Awesome. And then I wanted to end it out here with some best installation practices, right? So I like to talk about this a lot. Just like when you put tape light up on some type of surface, you want to wipe down the surface with a glass cleaner is what I recommend, like Windex. I think it works a little bit better than an alcohol wipe. The same way, though, when you put tape light in the channel, you want to make sure, if you're doing field install, you want to make sure you wipe down the surface with a glass cleaner, but you also want to make sure that it dries. A lot of people in the field, they will wipe it down, and then a minute later, they'll try to put the tape light on there, and then over time, it will start to sag. This is one of the most common issues we see in the field. Also, mounting variabilities, right? Letting you know that, yes, we have clips, right? But we also have a lot of other types of mounting accessories that you could use on this, like magnetic clips, right? Also, you could do a, where you actually do a drill hole. We could do that for you as well. This is much better maybe for commercial projects where you want it to be a little bit more vandal proof, where they can't just pop it off in maybe a multifamily project, pop it off the actual clips. It's now actually drilled to the under cabinet. Another thing I wanted to talk about that maybe is not as well known is when you're daisy chaining channel profiles together. There are a lot of people in the field that do know this this style of daisy chaining, but I always want to make sure I mention it, that if, let's say you're trying to use a 12-foot section, so you need an 8-foot section and a 4-foot section, and you're going to daisy chain them together. Biggest recommendation is swapping the lenses, right? So on the 8-foot section, you would take the 4-foot lens, go halfway through the 8-foot section, and then you would take the 8-foot lens, go over the second half of the 8-foot, and end it on the forefoot. This way, the lens break, where the break in the lens is not in the same area as the break of the channel. So, and then with direct view awareness, biggest thing I want to talk about with this, right, is making sure that if you are using any of these channels in direct view, I strongly suggest that you solder, right? The terminal blocks are great, but you still will get some type of dead spot on the ends. So anytime you're doing more direct view, that's a big recommendation by me, is doing a soldered lead, either in the field or having us do it. And then also optimization, right? This is something not a lot of people know that we can do for you, is we will make sure that any project you're working on, will let you know, hey, if you are willing, or if the project allows you to maybe go 3 inches shorter on the channel, now the tape light that you specified will actually be end to end. Right? This is big. And so sometimes maybe the project does not allow this, and so you're going to have some type of smaller dead spots on the end. But anytime it's direct view, I strongly suggest optimization. So, and then to end it off, right, I always wanted to talk about applications, right? The biggest thing, though, with channel profiles, right, is the applications are endless. So we're not really going to go into specific applications, right? You can practically use channel profiles almost everywhere. Maybe the only time is if you're having some type of curvature and you need something flexible, right? So just wanted to show you a few different areas where we actually had some of our lights in channel profiles, right? Another section here. This was used in a few different areas on this project. I thought it came out very, very beautiful. Right? Obviously toe kick or under the actual countertop, using that. A lot of people are obviously using just tape light. Sometimes though, you have a big enough gap where you want to make sure, or maybe a more reflective wood surface, so you don't want to just use bare tape light. You're going to get those dots on the ground, so they'll run it underneath with a channel profile. This was a really cool bookshelf, right? We ended up using some of our channels here, as you can see, completely diffused. This is what you get when you're using a channel. I always suggest it. I know I hammer this home a lot, but it's you want to protect that tape light. You want to make sure that you have diffusion for that tape light as well. Also, it just looks so much better instead of having bare tape light where it looks like you can just rip it off. It's, you know, it still has that stigma from the old Wild Wild West days with tape light. When you put it in a nice channel, or you specify it in a nice channel, it looks like a finished fixture. So